my name is John Doherty, and today we're going to talk about P7, and that's impact. Finally, when the club hits the golf ball. We left off in the last video at P6, the last parallel before impact, and that's where we're going to start today. Recap where we were and where we're going into impact. So, getting into P6, we'll start from the feet and work our way up. The left knee is over the left foot. It's already begun to push off. From when I'm at P4.5, when the pressure was in the ground, it's starting to straighten into P5 and into P6, straightening more. So the left leg is already pushing off the ground, but it's my left side of my body is over my left foot, meaning my left knee, my left hip, and my left shoulder are all on this wall coming over with pushing up off the ground. So my left shoulder at P6 is higher than my right shoulder, working down to the arms. Left arm is straight, and it's still on my pec, below my pec, where at P5 it was on top. Now it's below, but I still feel pressure on my left arm on my pec. It's just moved down from the left arm releasing off the chest. And from that left arm releasing off the chest, that naturally straightened the right arm without any force or muscular force from the right arm. So that coming down into P6, I'm pushing off. My hands are roughly over my right thigh, and I still have a little left wrist cock. So I haven't dumped the left wrist cock completely out. And you'd probably only see that if you fired the right arm with the right triceps too fast. And when that happens, that's when you got to get out of the way, stand up, make room, not hit it fat. You also fight club face closing or steering and having it too open. So P6, left knee is straightening. Left side of the body, left shoulder, left knee is over my left foot. My hands are over my right foot and my right thigh. My right elbow is going to be flexed at P6 120 degrees. So not 90, that's too high. When the left arm, that means the left arm is too high. You got to P6 this way, and the left arm is too much higher on the pec. So the left arm comes down into P6. And you'll notice at P6, my right forearm is pointing roughly where the golf ball, where the baseline of the plane is. And Homer Kelly's golf machine, the right forearm, right index finger, is tracing and feeling that sweet spot and putting that sweet spot on the golf ball. So the right forearm getting down to P6 on plane really helps the consistency with having a sweet spot hit every time. So 120 degrees with the right elbow flexion, and all the pressure points of my elbow, my mid bicep, and my armpit are on my torso and just barely in front of the seam of my shirt. So they're not behind the seam of my shirt. They're not on it. They're just barely in front of it. Now, that's probably the main point of focus I want to have talking with y'all about P7. So at P6, I do see a lot of people that have their right arm on their body, their elbow, mid bicep, and armpit pressure points. But by P7, that comes completely off with a lot of people. And what you see with Ben Hogan, Sam Snead, Matt O'Grady, is the right arm remains flexed at impact, and the pressure points at impact are still on the body. So here's a look that I rarely see from people I work with at first, and we hope to get here. But the right arm is still flexed about 150 degrees. The right elbow, mid bicep, armpit is still on the torso at impact. And I just lost a little bit of flexion because my left arm is being thrown from the pivot, pushing up with the left knee, left shoulder going up. And when that force happens from the ground up and you're pushing off with that left knee and that left shoulder, that uncocks that left wrist the final bit for impact. So the danger spot here at P6 is getting the right arm involved. You do not want to fire the right arm. It's the big reason why a lot of people hit fat shots or thin shots, because they constantly have to time raising up to hit the ground in the right spot every time. If they stay down too low and fire that right arm off, they're going to probably hit it fat, unless they move the ball position back. And then they're fighting trajectory and path issues too. So coming from this view, kind of getting into the right arm, a lot of people too I see at P7 come in with their hands too far forward at impact. And a lot of the time that is caused because you either think you're supposed to be there or your right arm's firing. So if the right arm fires, a lot of the times it puts the hands really far in front of the ball at impact. And then you can see the more my hands get in front of the ball at impact, the more open my club face is. So at that point, you have to manipulate the left wrist a little bit more through palmar flexion to square the club face. So the impact is happening in this style, which is, in Homer Kelly's definition, is the swinging style, not the hitting style. You're just using the result of centripetal force. So there's a great thing you can Google. It's called parametric acceleration. But that's this club shaft seeking to get in line in the direction of the pulling force. So my left shoulder, my left knee is pulling up, and that club shaft is seeking to get in line and will get in line at low point, which is where the left shoulder is. So if you've ever been on TrackMan or Flight Scope, there's a data number there that talks about low point. And most of my college golfers, low point is between 3.5 to 5 inches in front of the golf ball. So they're striking the golf ball as the club's still working down and going all the way through the divot until they hit the low point opposite their left shoulder. And you can manipulate that in your swing from driver to iron based on ball position, width of stance, etc. So I always want that low point to be obviously in front of the golf ball unless we were hitting a bunker shot or a flop shot. Talking about what the hips do. So the hips going from P6 to P7, it's not this tremendous amount of rotation this way. What's causing the hips to rotate is the left knee straightening. And also my pelvis is extending. So we talked about at P6, my pelvic area starting to go into posterior tilt, not anterior tilt. So you'll see anterior tilt a lot more at P4 and a little bit into P5, but as P5 to P6 comes, you're going to start seeing that tailbone tuck under, and P6 to P7. And from the face-on view with Mac, you'll see his zipper at P6 is just maybe barely in front of the golf ball to in line with it. And then by P7, because that left knee straightening more and that tailbone's tucking under more, that zipper moves in front of the golf ball. And then also too, about P6.5 to P7, it's the first time you'll see his left ear, which is just slightly in front of the golf ball, and his left shoulder move back away from the target. So P6.5, you'll see this left shoulder working up, but it's not working back and falling back with the spine. You're not going to see that fall back until P6.5, that final burst of when that belt buckle and tailbone tucks under and that left knee straightens. You'll see the left ear move back and the left shoulder move back away from the target. So it sort of snaps that into the golf ball. All right, so talking about P6, the shoulders are square at P6. And at P7, once the left knee pushes off more, left shoulder goes up more, and the hips push forward to where the zipper's in front of the ball, and then the club releases into a straight line with the left arm. The shoulders will actually be 45 degrees open at impact. Talking about the shoulders. So shoulders at P6 need to be square. Probably the most thing I see 99% of the time is people with their shoulders closed at P6. And when your shoulders are closed at P6, it's going to put the club shaft usually pointing really far to the right. But it also puts your right shoulder way too far away from the golf ball. So your brain knows you got to put this on that. And so you're going to, this type of alignment is going to encourage someone to use their right arm to fire that off their body, and they're going to lose their pressure points. I always kind of say that looks like to me that they're hitting the ball and they're following through. It looks like they're hitting the ball with the club already released. So you see like a lot of picky contact. If they get under it, it goes real high. Lots of duck hooks. The benefit, in my opinion, of having your right humerus on the body as it produces a very consistent flat spot at impact. And it also produces a very quiet club face. So the people that are having to fire the right arm off the body have to manage the vertical contact, the fat shots, thin shots, and also a lot of club face closure happening there around the golf ball. But if you can work on your swing and have the right arm still on the body at P6 and still on the body at P7, and you'll kind of see this look where the left arm, the right arm is below the left. you'll see that the right forearm is under the left and also kind of on the shaft plane, so tracing that sweet spot plane still. The left wrist is fully or uncocked. When it goes to low point is when it's actually going to go to fully uncocked. So you're actually going to impact with the left wrist level, and then it's going to pull to actually fully maximum uncocked at low point, or what they call the follow through in the golf machine. So what the head does, so you see a lot of people when they start working on this, getting the right arm on the body. And so my shoulders are square. I got the pressure points. I still got a little left wrist cock left. My left knee is straightening. My left shoulder is going up. What you see a lot of people with the head is the head tends to come up like this because they're trying to pivot. They're feeling the hips finally going forward. They're feeling the head going back, and the head kind of pops up. You want that head at that point, those eyes looking at that golf ball in that ground. So as you're going from P6 to P7, that head is still down. And then we'll get into what happens at P8 later, but that proprioception, that awareness of the depth of where the ground's at, the golf ball, the club face, the target line, having that head down at that point, it impacts super important. So we kind of talked in this video about some pitfalls with the right arm, the dangers of it. With this style swing, there's totally a correct method to go out there and learn how to use the right arm correctly. And you can look at Greg Norman, a lot of Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, Bill Mickelson. You can see a lot of successful people use the right arm and be very successful. This particular style swing is based off of Homer Kelly's swinging method, which you can look at Sam Snead, Ben Hogan, Cameron Champ, of course Mac O'Grady, and kind of maybe test for yourself to see, do you like the consistency with the ground contact? Do you like the club face consistency coming through impact? I know there's a lot of benefits to this stuff, this style swing, and really no distance loss. So we've gotten from P1 to P7. In the next video, we'll cover P8 to P10 and wrap it up. But I hope you enjoyed it, and please leave some comments and thumbs up. Thanks so much. Bye.